As directed by Manitoba Health, we're requesting people avoid close contact within 2 meters with anyone showing symptoms of a respiratory illness such as coughing or sneezing. If you're experiencing flu-like symptoms, we're requesting that you excuse yourself from the room. Okay, I will call the meeting to order. I'll begin by acknowledging that we are in Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. My name is Neil Hart, and I'm chairing today's panel. With me is Brent McIntyre to my left, and to his left is Carrie Linklater. The assessor today is Arka Darkanov, and the recording secretary is Kara Belshaw. So can you
yes,
swear in, affirm?
So please state your name.
Arka Darkanov.
And do you affirm the evidence you present today is the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I affirm.
And please state your name.
Last Sitkowski.
Do you affirm the evidence you present today is the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
That's why you seem.
I know.
Okay, we will be hearing applications for revision of the assessment rule in accordance with the Municipal Assessment Act. Matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application and will limit discussion to those matters. The statements that are made at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matters must be sworn in. We advise that comparisons of assessments of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the board. The board is appointed annually by council and is independent of it in the city administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the board's decisions with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to the application of exemptions from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included with the board's order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions the applicant may have, then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after all the applications have been heard, and the board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are live streamed, recorded, and will be part of the public record. So the first item we'll be dealing with is 2850 Dougal Road. So Arthur, you can begin when you're ready.
So file number 2068. Roll number 090081590000. Address 2850 Dougal Road. Owners 6170600 Manitoba Limited. 2021 reference year with reference date of April 1st, 2018. And assessed value of $421,000. Property consists of 2 buildings, which are 1 story with 1959 actual year build and 1963 effective year build. Wall height 14 feet. Gross floor area 2,978 square feet. I asked the board to confirm the 2021 assessment at $421,000. Page 2 provides a street view and aerial view of subject property. Page 3 provides basic information as to request for income information as well as subject sale history. Subject was sold in 2010 for $105,000.
Sorry, can you repeat that again, please?
Sold in 2010 for $105,000. On page 4, we have comparable properties that are VSG, similar to subject properties as a vehicle service garage, and their effective net rents per square foot, which is further followed by the subject property income streams. In this case, we have an income stream for storage warehouse at 1,200 square feet at $7.83 per square foot. With vacancy loss at 2.5%, expenses at 2%, and shortfall rate at $3.75 per square foot, and capitalization rate of 5.8%. Estimated market value for income stream number 1 is $153,000. Income stream 2 consists of 1,778 square feet at $9.88 per square foot. It is a vehicle service garage income stream with vacancy at 4%, expenses at 2%, and overall capitalization at 6.05%. Estimated value for income stream number 2 is $268,000. Overall summary: total estimated market value for all for both income streams are $421,000. That can be seen on page number 7 with blended capitalization rate of 5.96%. Expenses stayed at 4%, and the blended shortfall per square foot of $4.18. And the blended vacancy at $3.48, 3.48%. Further provides information on the subject property list, which is an income and expense mailer sent to Assessment and Taxation Department. It is stated that the property is partially owner occupied with a gross rent in place. And if we move on to page number 13 for capitalization rates, we can see that City of Winnipeg uses capitalization rates for, in this case, we'll have to use a property type, which is office. And for capitalization rates, they range anywhere from 5.55% to 9.05%, with majority of them being between 6.2 and 7.3. Okay, further on page 15 to the end is a fresh book stating what that for 2020 assessment year, City of Winnipeg has provided information on the on page 17, we can see that for the 2020 general assessment, the Assessment and Taxation Department has altered the approach to the non-recoverable expenses allowance for commercial and industrial properties from what has been done in previous assessment cycles. Under previous legislations or all properties in Manitoba are assessed every 2 years to ensure assessments keep pace with changing market conditions. This is confirmed in the Court of Appeal decision in Broadway Square Limited versus assessor for the City of Winnipeg, which states the valuation for real properties of Manitoba for municipal purposes is quite complex. It is governed by the Municipal Assessment Act, SM 1989-1990, CSM at that time CCSM, CM 226. The statutory scheme requires that the fresh assessment for all properties be carried out every 4 years. So what happened in this time? Now we are in a 2-year cycle, and studies have been done to conclude that 5% expenses added as a management expenses had to be removed, as they are reflected in the net rents. All the management expenses are reflected in the net rent, and 2% expenses that are unrecoverable are stayed in the calculation. That is a short explanation of the following few pages. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Okay, questions, Les?
Yes, thank you. Have you been out to the site this time around?
No, I have not been able to inspect the subject property. No.
You indicated that there are two buildings at this site. I don't know why you say that, because I mean, when I was there, I only saw one building, and pictures shows that there's only one building. There was an addition, is that correct? There was an addition that was
Yes.
built to the original building.
Mhm.
So it's really one building, right? It's a vehicles, it should be a vehicle service building.
And it is, for the most part, it is a vehicle service building. That is correct.
And it's, is it occupied by one tenant?
Well, currently, based on our records, the subject property is vacant. However, it is my understanding that it is currently occupied by property owner as well, based on what an appellant has provided me with the following information. But on property, based on the assessment and taxation records, property is vacant.
Based on your records, but the evidence suggests that it isn't vacant, that it's owned by one person. It's occupied by one tenant. Is that correct? So I don't understand why the city suggests that it's vacant if it isn't.
Again, it was occupied, but I believe I would say in the beginning of 2020 or late in 2019, a business that was occupying the premise has moved out. So the property record.
That's post-reference.
Well, I'm just
Question
providing.
is, was it occupied on April 1st, 2018?
On April 1st, 2018, the business was occupied by the following property. The subject property was occupied by the following businesses that can be seen on page 11.
So just getting back to the issue of how many buildings there are actually on this site. So are you aware that there was an original building, an addition was constructed, as vehicle service area, part of the building was constructed, was added on. The original part is used as an office or as an adjunct to
Yes,
to the vehicle service part of the building. Is that correct?
that is correct. This one, just when I read it, like the information here said it's there is two buildings, and yes, there was one building, and then a secondary building was built as an addition to the original building. That is what City of Winnipeg records shows. There is two buildings, however, it is one building.
So it's incorrect when you suggested that there are two buildings there. I mean, two buildings to me suggest that there are two separate buildings on a site.
No, there is one building, to which an addition was built at some point.
Now, the effective age of the building is 1963. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So this building's almost 60 years old.
Yeah, it is, yes.
And, okay. The sale that you reported occurred in 2010, was that an arm's length sale?
No, I don't have any information as to provide whether it was an arm's length sale or not.
So I'm curious. So you had just stated that this is indeed a vehicle service garage. Why do you show two streams of income if it is only a vehicle, if this building is a vehicle service garage? Why do you show two streams of income?
Okay, because secondary, well, one part, like overall, building is being used part of the building is being used as a vehicle service garage, as can be seen on page 2 in the picture of the aerial view. And the secondary part of the building is used as a storage, as it cannot be used as a vehicle service garage.
Okay, but that used as, you say that it's used as a storage. You haven't, first of all, you haven't been there, so you don't know for sure. Could it be used as a waiting area for clients? Could it be used as a part office to assist in the business?
Yeah.
It's, so I guess what I'm getting at is the entire area is used by this business as a vehicle service garage. They need office space, they need storage space, they need some space for customers to wait for the vehicle to be serviced.
Okay.
So what, I'm not sure I understand
Okay.
why you say there are two definite spaces.
Well,
And maybe I should just continue. There is an entrance from the older part of the building to the newer part of the building, so that people, personnel, and/or clients can walk through from one part of the building to the other. Is that correct? That's normal for this type of building, right?
It is,
These
yes.
type of. So I again, can you explain to me why you show two streams of income?
It was. I cannot tell you exactly why the one income stream is being used as storage warehouse. However, so no, I cannot tell you why there is an income stream as a storage warehouse.
Okay. Now, on page 4, you show rent comparables. I'm assuming that you're not using any of these rent comparables to determine value for the subject property. Because none of these are, I would say 99% of these are not located anywhere near the subject property, are located on very busy streets like Pembina, Portage, Henderson Highway, McPhillips, where where there's a lot of traffic, many retail outlets. Would that have an impact on a value of the building, particularly this one, which is located near the outskirts of the city? There are, the traffic is minimal. The only traffic that I gather that's there is traffic of people wanting to leave the city or come into the city.
Yes, the subject property location is inferior as to those that are on page 4 of the comparables. To most of them, it is inferior, probably even to all of them.
It is inferior, okay.
And it is reflected in the price per square foot. The location of subject property is inferior to the condition to the comparables used on page number 4. And it is reflected in the price of square foot of subject property.
All right. Now, when you look at the age of the building, in order to determine value, what do you normally adjust or amend? To arrive at value, do you adjust or amend the capitalization rate if the building is very old?
Well, a number of things go into the adjustment, including the capitalization rate, price per square foot, things like that are being considered.
Okay. All right, thank you. Those are my questions.
I have no questions.
Gary?
Yes, Arka, I'm just going to go to your brief, page 13, your cap rate study. I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear you during your presentation. Are you saying that this property is under office property type?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So I'm assuming it's suburban B?
Correct.
Okay. And you're giving it sort of an overall rate, I would say, of 5.9, even though it's, again, a 1963
Yes,
building.
and that's where it goes into those rates here that we look on suburb on the page 13. They reflect all of the buildings under this section, suburban B. And the smaller the building gets, the more the capitalization rents tend to go to the scale down, because for the most part, buildings such as subject property are being bought by the being bought to be used as an owner occupied, and for the most part, such buildings as subject property that are smaller scale buildings on the lower price end, they're typically bought for owner occupancy. At that time, the studies city conducted at that time, capitalization rates tend to be lower. So yes, when a purchaser is buying a building, a smaller building for owner occupancy, they would tend to pay a slightly higher premium, where it would drive down the capitalization rate.
Okay, so you're saying capitalization rate then is based on the size of the building?
No, what I'm saying is typically smaller buildings would show smaller cap rates, whereas larger buildings would, and mostly smaller buildings such as this, such as subject property, would are being purchased for owner occupancy, and
Okay, sorry, I'm just gonna stop you there. So what you are saying then, it is based on the size of the building?
not only. Size of the building does play a factor, but it's not the only factor.
Okay, but you're saying it's 1963 building, so you're not even bringing in the age of the building, it's 60 years old. So if you're saying the smaller building gives a higher cap rate, then what about a brand new building like the MTS Center? Sorry, I'm not
Okay, yeah.
following your logic.
Okay.
Would that be given a 12% cap rate?
No, what I'm saying is there is more to. It's not only the size of the building that drives the cap rate, but what we have seen is that smaller buildings are being purchased for owner occupancy, and therefore those buildings are people tend to pay slightly more for those buildings than it would be by an investor. I guess I hope I explained myself.
Just one last question. And I know you yourself did not have a chance to inspect this property, but you know the last time it was inspected?
Well, as I said, somebody from the assessment department was there to do the vacate of the businesses that were there, probably about not 6 months ago, right? Beginning of the year, or beginning of 2020 or end of 2019, to my recollection.
Okay, sorry. So it was inspected at the beginning of the year, is that what you're saying?
To my recollection, it has been, yes.
Okay.
Somebody was out there.
Excuse me, I heard the word probably.
Okay.
To me, that indicates you don't know, really.
Well, that was my next. Is it in your
Sorry.
field notes? Do you have it in your notes at all?
I don't have the notes with me.
Okay, that's all my questions. Thank you.
So may I just follow up on this line of questions? So you don't know for sure whether this building was inspected by the assessment department, or when it was inspected? You don't have notes and.
Well, I don't have the notes to confirm my statement. So yeah,
Okay.
I guess so.
Okay. So there is no indication in the records that suggest the problems that this building is having. Is that correct? The state of disrepair that this building's undergoing. There's no records in the city's documentation.
Not to my recollection, no.
Okay.
I guess going back to the cap rate in terms of
Sorry, I can't hear you. Can you speak up?
okay, I was going to say, going back to the cap rate, you say because it tends to be bought for owner occupancy. Can you derive a legitimate cap rate from a sale that's going to be owner occupied when you're not buying it for the income stream?
Well, so the question is, can I derive it right now, or?
I mean, is it legitimate to try and derive a cap rate when the building's not being bought for investment purposes or to generate an income from rental?
Yeah, so again, the city calculates cap rates in a way that when a property is sold, they use net operating of that property building and divide it by the sale price. Then they further look at whether it's further rented out or not, and it's been confirmed. It's been said to me, at least by other assessors, that smaller buildings tend to have lower capitalization rates because of it, because they're owner occupied.
So from one owner occupier to another owner occupier, there never was a revenue stream to derive a cap rate.
No. When it was sold from when it was a rented property and purchased to be an owner occupier.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Okay, Les, you can begin your presentation.
Thank you. So I'd like to refer to my brief, and the front page of the brief shows the property, and so you could, as well, all of us can see it. For all intents and purposes, it's one building. The part on the left was the addition, and so that's that. And you see garage doors, indicates that it's a garage. It's a service, vehicle service facility. To the right, there's some office space, some storage space, a waiting room for customers. So that just, again, it shows you what type of property we're dealing with here. Now, if we go to page 2, I'm asking for a reduction in value to from $421,000 to $314,000. Now, I don't have any arguments with respect to the lease rate, because we feel that since this is the location of this particular building is not the best, and there are other issues with the building. I feel that a rate of $9.05 per square foot would be the going rate for this type of property if it was to be rented out. The issues that we have essentially are we'd like to reinstall the non-recoverable expenses of 5%, and many arguments had been presented to this board in this last year. I'm not going to bore you, and I was advised by previous panels not to bore them with this argument. Now, the biggest issue is the location of the building, the fact that there are many issues with the property, and what I like to do is just like to go over the pictures. So if we start off with page 3, and I'm sorry, I don't think your pages are numbered, but if you go start at page 3, this is another picture of the property, showing that it's a vehicle service facility, and this picture is taken from across the highway, and that's Dugald. The next picture, it shows the view from the building. You see there's I don't know what that is. It's a grain facility right across the street. We've got another picture of the building. On my page 6, you see a huge hole in the wall. This is the wall on the back side of the building. This is the newer part of the building. You could see that it's been constructed using cinder blocks and then stuccoed over. And then there's this bunch of cracking, parging coming off the building. The next picture shows the next picture shows boarded up windows on. This is again back wall of the property. And then the following picture, you see the gravel back lane. And then again, the picture after that shows that there are 2 boarded up windows. And this is these are pictures that I had actually taken when I was there to inspect the property. You'll see on my page 10, you'll see the blue. This is the front wall. You'll see the panels. The owner is actually holding one of the panels, and it's coming off. It's coming off. You could just easily pull it out. I asked him to hold his hand there to pull at it, and I took a photo of it. This is the front near the quote unquote office section of the building. This is the older part of the building, the original part of the building. And again, the following page, take a look at the windows. They're rotting. There's a big gap between the horizontal part of the casing and the vertical part of the casing. This is the exterior part. Again, this is the original part of the building. Page 12 again. It shows is another picture of the window. And then page 13. Take a look at the windows, what they look like, what state of disrepair they are. And then there's another panel that can easily be removed by hand. And what I suspect is that there's a bunch of water leakage there. That's probably what is causing this damage. And then the following page shows stucco coming off the building near the front entrance door. And then again, another picture showing additional parts of the stucco that has fallen off. So you could see by the pictures that this particular building is in a very sad state of repair. I'm not, if I ran a business there, an automotive business, I most likely would try to make those repairs, because I mean, obviously when a customer comes in, it's not the best thing to see right off that the building's falling apart. So because of its location, because it's located I think a couple kilometers away from the East Perimeter Highway, because of the fact that there's gravel driveway, because of the fact that there's very little traffic there other than traffic of people leaving the city and coming back into the city. People that, that's one of the ways that one gets to Oak Bank, is driving that down Dugald and onto the highway. The state of this repair that you see through these pictures. So I'm asking for a minimum cap of 7.5%, and as a result, I'm asking for the value to be reduced to $314,000. And I should point out that we are considering this to be as one economic entity, not 2 separate economic entities. As we all know, whenever you have a vehicle service facility, you need space to repair a vehicle. You need space for some storage space. You need part of the building to accept customers. You need some space for an office. And this is exactly what this building is. There are 2 parts of the building. One originally built years ago And then there was an addition put on. Thank you so much.
Any questions on that?
Okay, is the property currently occupied?
Yes, it is.
And is it owner occupied?
Yes, it is.
It is owner occupied. Okay.
That was, by the way, when I inspected the building, I did ask the individual, you saw the owner's hand in one of the pictures. And I just, on the way down to this hearing, I did again reconfirm, I called him up and I could reconfirm that he indeed occupies the entire premises.
So you are using 5% of non-recoverable expense in your calculation, right?
Well, we'd like that to be added back in, yes.
And you know that evidence suggests that 5% non-recoverable expense is in fact a management expense that has been that's typically recovered through net rent. You are aware of that, right?
Well, I think the evidence that was presented in the last year is contrary to what you're stating.
And so the business is being used as a vehicle service. Is it a dealership or is it a vehicle service garage?
It's a garage.
It's a garage.
I don't think a dealership would want to use this type of property.
Oh, you use dealership. I mean, they don't use
use
car sales. So.
I mean, I suspect that he sells vehicles because I saw on his property a number of vehicles, used older vehicles. And you can see by the picture on page 3 that there are many vehicles. Mind you, some of them have license plates, others don't. So I'm thinking that the ones without the license plates are ones that he's attempting to sell.
So I guess so. Part of the so I guess so part of the building is vehicle service, but another part is being used as an office.
Well, I'm
the garage, right?
Well,
and the storage, right?
I'm arguing that the entire building is used as a vehicle service building.
Okay. Those are all my questions. Thank you.
Two, I think. So these pictures, according to your brief, were taken on August 18th?
Is that the
That's
date?
the date on it.
Yes.
So the building, despite the testimony by the assessor, is not vacant.
It is not vacant. And I mean, not only the pictures attest to that, but I was there when I took those pictures. I spoke to the owner at that time. I saw what was happening. I asked him. And then as I mentioned to you a few moments ago, on my way down to this hearing, I did call him just to reconfirm that he was occupying the building, and indeed that's what he confirmed.
And then at one of your pictures taken from the other side of Dugald Road, clearly he is selling vehicles because he has in-house financing sign, call today, drive away today.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a combination of vehicle service and sales.
So I mean, that's par for the course for many types of these types of businesses.
Okay, that's my only question.
I have no questions.
Okay, and I have no questions, so summation by Arthur, summation.
No, I don't have any for submission. Thank you.
Okay, that's
No, thank you.
all right. Thank you for that. Then we will move on to 107 Pandora Avenue West.
Do you by chance have another copy of this?
File number 20477. Roll number 090104-74065. Address 107 Pandora Avenue West. Owners 4542828 Manitoba Limited. Assessment roll year is 2021 with a reference date of April 1st, 2018. Assessed value of $2,570,000. Subject property is 2019 year built with an average wall height of 10 feet. Plan area 8,541 square feet. Subject property has 3 premises, and again, it has a number of buildings on record as 2, and they're all 1 story. And this number of buildings too may very well represent one building that is that has been divided into 2 units for assessment purposes. The recommendation is to confirm the 2021 assessment value of $2,570,000.
Excuse me.
Okay, page 2 provides some pictures of the subject property. As we can see, as I have stated before, it's a 2019 building. It's a brand new building. The original building has been demolished, and this building has been rebuilt, built in its place. So it has a gas station, car wash, and as well as a Tim Hortons location, as you can see on page number 3. Further pages provide more pictures of the for the subject property. Again, we can see Tim Hortons convenience store for the gas station. On page number 4, page 5 provides parking, a picture of the parking lot that is being used probably for the businesses in the building. Page 6 provides a garage door, which is an exit from the car wash. Page 7 provides pictures of the subject property pumps that are gas station pumps. Page 8 is a canopy, as well as page 9. Page 10 and 11 provides interior of the car wash. It's a one wash. And there are more pictures of the car wash again in pages 12 to 13. 14 and 15 are all pictures of the car washes, of the car wash. For income streams, income stream 1 is a restaurant income stream, which is 1,000 square feet, refers to Tim Hortons at $22.43 per square foot. With 3% vacancy, 2% expenses, and cap rate of 6.35%. Estimated value for income stream number 1 is $332,000. Income stream 2 is a car wash at $8.96 per square foot, with vacancy at 2%, expenses at 2%, and capitalization rate at 6.4%. Estimated value for a car wash is $747,000. And income stream 3 is a kiosk, which is a convenience store for the gas station. It's 1,925 square feet at $35.96 per square foot. 2% vacancy loss, 2% expenses, and 6.15% capitalization rate, and additional value for pumps and canopies. Total estimated value $1,491,000. Page 20 provides information on detached structures that are being used to calculate additional building value on page 19. So those are pumps, tanks, and canopies, totaling $414,000. Page 21 provides summary of all income streams as well as blended value for all income streams as well. So with total estimated market value of $2,570,000. Page 22 provides rent comparables for the gas station and the car wash, so convenience store and the car wash, which supports the rent being used for convenience store at $35.96 for 1,925 square feet. The closest one we have is comparable number one at 2,250 square feet, which has net rent of $40.25. And another one is similar in size is comparable number 12. Again, it's 2,042 square feet convenience store with a rent of $42.92. Rent for the car wash is assessment and taxation has at $8.96, which is supported by the car wash rents we have at 1050, 3 at 1050, 772, and 1451. Page 23 provides rent for the restaurant rent comparables, and we have a range anywhere from $16.65 to $29 per square foot. As we can see, the price per square foot goes up significantly with the age of the building, as higher priced prices with $28 and $29 are represented by the building with effective year build of 2011 and 2013. So $16.65 per square foot rent is for the older building that was built in 1970. Next, we have provided permit information for the construction of the subject property. On page 25, we have value of construction at $3,500,000. Okay, so the cost to build was declared at $3,500,000. And again, we're looking at capitalization rate studies on page 28. And just as before, we are looking at office suburban B category for capitalization rates. And a fresh look on page 30 to the end of the report provides a fresh look on 2020-2021 reassessments, which explains the reason why City of Winnipeg moved away from providing 5% non-recoverable management expense. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Yes. Does the value of a property depend to a great extent on its location?
Well, location, of course, the location plays a major role in the.
Okay, so this particular property, where is it located?
So it's located on a Pandora Avenue.
What's across the street from Pandora Avenue?
It's CN
Rail tracks, right?
Yes, there's a CN distribution center.
So, okay. Now, and this particular type of facility, would it depend on high traffic volume? Because I mean, you have you have gas station, you have a restaurant, you have also a car wash area. So in order for it to garner more income, would it depend on high traffic volume?
Well, high traffic volume obviously helps a lot in for any business. Subject property is not on a high traffic area as compared to, let's say, Regent Avenue. However, it is well established. It is located in the well established residential area nearby that goes north of it.
So it is mainly a residential area. Does it have any retail on that particular street? Is there any other type of business that can draw people to that area?
Not to the extent as it would on the major commercial locations such as on Regent. No, subject property is definitely not right to the north of it like on Regent Avenue. I guess I would have to say west of Plessy. So now we have Regent Avenue west of Plessy, which is in Transcona. There are some. It is a commercial area, 2 blocks north of it. For Transcona area, it's not as large as Crossroads and Regent, like Regent and Larger Madère. However, it is. It has a draw. It would have a draw from Regent Avenue West, having a Tim Hortons on subject property.
So it would mainly draw people that live in that area, in the surrounding area.
It would appear to me that way. That it
Okay.
is, for the most part, to serve the residential area of Transcona.
Okay. So most of these types of facilities are located on. Would you agree with me? Located on busier streets such as McPhillips, Main Street, Pembina Highway, Henderson Highway, Regent. So that they would draw traffic. There's lots of traffic being drawn to these types of areas where there is a lot of other type of activity with retail activity. And if you're driving by a facility such as this, heading to a shopping center, for example, if you're out of gas, you would stop into this type of facility, or if you want a donut, or if you want a car wash. And so it draws people from other parts of the city, as opposed to this area, which draws only people that live in that area.
Oh, yeah, I cannot argue with that.
So you're using the same parameters to arrive at value for this property as you would use for identical or similar property located on McPhillips or Main Street or Pembina Highway or Henderson Highway or Regent.
Location is a location. It is adjusted for location.
Okay, can you tell me what parameter you use to adjust for location?
Well, if we look at on the comparables that I have provided, we'll start with income stream number 1. So page 17 of my report, we have leasable area 1,000 square feet, rent of $22.43. Now, if we look at the comparables that I have provided for the restaurant, page 23, we have properties that are a bit older but still new, in the 2010 plus year build. Their price per square foot is $28 and $29 per square foot. So yes, it is adjusted in that way.
Are those the rents that you show here? Are those the market rents in that area, or they're rents garnered from the actual tenants in that area?
The page 23 as net rents for the properties in that area.
What about the capitalization rate?
I don't have information on the, capitalization rate for subject property. Again, we can see that it is within the, I guess let's go back to our previous discussion for the other property, but we can see, page 28. We have office suburban B on my page of page 28 of my report, capitalization rates. So what we have is we have a range of anywhere from 5.55 to 9.05%, and the capitalization rates used for this 2019 building are 6% and above, with a blended capitalization rate of 6.27%. So it has been considered as well to arriving at the market value.
Now, also in your evidence, you presented the construction costs of this particular property. I believe around 4 million or so. Is that correct?
That is correct. That owner provided did state that 3.5 million estimate provided on the permit was actually has been a low end of the has been actual cost was closer to 4 million.
But you're not considering that to arrive at market value.
Well,
because I mean, we just at the beginning of my inquiry was that you suggested that location has a lot to do with value, and in this particular case, I mean, the construction cost was higher than the value that you're suggesting, even. So you're not putting too much stock into the cost of construction, because I mean, as you know, you could build a massive facility, a very expensive facility, and in a location that would not allow that property to sell for that particular price. Like for example, the North End. I mean, you could build, a $500,000 home in the North End. It would be very, very difficult for that home to sell for $500,000. Is that correct?
Well, that's why we have estimated market value at $2,570,000 with and all the rents are being used as the market rents, and they have been supported by the comparables that I have provided.
Okay. I think those are my questions. Thank you.
Just one on page 23. These restaurants, are they all Tim Hortons?
Okay. Just give me 1 second. It is blacked out. I do not have access to the blacked out information, but when I did put it together, most of them, if not all, are Tim Hortons.
As I'm looking at this 2579 Main Street, there's unit 1 and unit 2, so I wouldn't think there's 2 Tim Hortons sitting side by side.
Probably in that case, it's another restaurant next to it.
Okay, thank you.
But they're all restaurants, yeah.
I'm not familiar with Pandora. Typically, the going wisdom is that you want donut shops on the going to work side of the street and gas stations on the going home side of the street. Obviously, kind of a combination of the two. Which side of the street is this on?
It's on the north side.
Well, the subject property is on the north side of the CN, major CN hub. So
it's the north side of the street too. It's on the north side of the street.
It is on the north and south, so it is a major CN hub. So it is most likely that it is serving the employees of that particular location as well.
May I comment on that as well? So this is there's the entrance to the CN facility is on Day Street, and this particular property is way east of Day Street. So anybody going to work wouldn't necessarily, need to spend I don't know, another 10 minutes or so, or to go let's say, to get a donut and coffee. There are many more facilities on the way to work on Regent Avenue, on other, in other areas. That would be out of their way to get a coffee and donut. I'm suggesting that particular facility services mainly the people that live in that area.
All right. So I have no more questions, and you can proceed with your presentation.
Thank you. So my argument is really based on location of this property. As I had mentioned, it's located, to me, it's located out of the way. I don't, again, I don't know much about this type of business, but I'm positive that a similar type of business model located on Regent or Main Street, McPhillips, where there's high rate of traffic, where there is destination traffic, where there's traffic going to malls, going to work. I'm positive that type of property would be valued higher than this particular property, regardless of whether it costs you 4 million, 5 million, 10 million, 20 million to build. It's absolutely not going to have as much value as a facility like this located Regent and some of the other major streets that I just mentioned. And so this is earlier last year we had a facility similar to this on Plessis Road, and that was our only argument that its location was not as good, even though Plessis is, in my opinion, is better than this location, but it's still not as advantageous a location as Regent Avenue going west or the other main streets. And the board, the panel at that time agreed with our assertion that the location on Plessis was not as good as any of the locations. And at that time, the assessor brought in comparisons located on McPhillips Street near some of the malls that are on North McPhillips Street or Henderson Highway and other busy streets. And so what the panel did was they increased the capitalization rate to 6.5% and I've attached the order. The board revision order is the last page of my presentation. Based on again, that was our only argument based on the fact that the location was not the best, and they suggested a higher capitalization rate of 6.5 would be more suitable. But in this particular case, this particular area, obviously, at least in my opinion, doesn't have as much value as Plessis Road. So we're asking for the capitalization rate to be increased to 7%, and hence the value of this building to be at $2,246,000. We're also asking, of course, for the reinstatement of the non-recoverable expenses, and again, I'm not going to be making arguments with respect to that. All the other parameters, we don't have any arguments with. The lease rate, for example, we don't have or the vacancy allowance, we don't have any arguments. Our only arguments are with respect to capitalization rate and asking for this panel to reinstall the non-recoverable 5% of non-recoverable expense. Thank you.
Any questions, Eric?
So the evidence that you brought forth, there is no comparables, just a board of revision decision for 1440 Plessis. Is that correct?
This is a property that I was arguing for at that particular hearing.
So if you are using this property as your, I guess is it owner occupied or is it rented?
Well, I'm certain that Tim Hortons is owned by a conglomerate, not owned by the particular person that built this particular building, no. No, it's not owner occupied.
So 1440 places.
Sorry, which one are you talking about? 1440 or?
1440 places.
No, it's not owner occupied.
Is it, what type of property is it?
There's a gas station, there's a store, convenience store, there's a car wash there.
So it doesn't have a Tim Hortons restaurant as a part of the realty, is it?
It does not, no.
So would you agree that Tim Hortons restaurant provides extra revenue for the property owner?
Well, again, I'm not arguing the lease rate. I'm arguing the fact that this location is a substandard location, and it should be given a higher capitalization rate.
And my next question would be, having brand new gas station, brand new car wash, as well as a Tim Hortons under one role, would that be attractive for a potential buyer, and therefore would affect the capitalization rate?
Well, I mean, it depends on the income stream that particular property is generating. And I'm arguing that in this particular instance, it wouldn't be, the income stream would not be as great as one located on a much busier street.
Have you inspected the property?
I was there, yes. The pictures that you see are my pictures.
Do you know what is the income stream for Tim Hortons? Did the property
Again, that was not, I don't know, because I'm not arguing to change the lease rate, so I don't.
So without knowing that, you cannot know the capitalization rate, would you?
I'm just basing my argument on the fact that the location is substandard, and I'm asking for a high, and this is in keeping with what the previous panel has decided.
Well, would you agree that the location being substandard is already addressed in the rent per square foot, as well as?
I don't know.
You don't know that. Okay. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Just wanted to clarify on 1440 Plessis, is there not a McDonald's there as well? Attached to the.
I have the file here, so I could, let me, if you don't mind, give me a second. Look, I don't recall there being a McDonald's there. If you like, I could show you the picture. Would you like to see the picture?
Okay, that's fine. I was thinking of the one on the
Oh,
other side of the Plessis.
Can I see it? Nice. Although I was on that panel, I must admit I do not recall anything about it.
And that was it.
That was it. Carrie, any questions? Okay, I have no questions either, so thank you very much, Les.
Thank you, Kylie.
Yours. We'll take a break till 20 after. We can set up for the next. Okay, we'll reconvene. We'll go to 1032 Marion Street. And there is a 2019 sub and a 2020 one. So we'll deal with the 2020 first. You want to deal with that one first?
Sure, yeah.
So that'd be item 3 on the agenda.
They are both subs, just for clarity, it's the same.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Please state your name.
Jared Story?
Do you affirm the evidence you'll present today is the truth, the truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so Arthur, you can begin.
So we're dealing with file number 2042. for roll number 0603-2448-500, 1032 Marion Street, Domo Gasoline Corporation Limited. 2020 year with reference date of April 1st, 2018, assessed value of $996,000. So, their property description. There is 3 buildings that make up one single building with one premise and 1 story. Actual year builds are 1983 and 2012, and effective year builds 1983 and 2012. Wall height 10 feet. Land area 39,961 square feet. Plan area 278 square feet. Subject property is a Domo gas station with pumps and the kiosk. We ask to confirm the 2020 assessment of $996,000. And okay, so we'll continue on page 2, which provides a real view of subject property. And page 3 provides May 12 and July 14th Google Street View. The reason for supplementary assessment is square footage of the subject property has been increased due to the addition built to the kiosk in 2012.
That's that little area, if you look at bottom of page 3, that little area on the right side.
On the right, yes. Page 4 provides basic information, and it only has information for requests for income and expense information. Okay. Page 3 provides basic information that says that 2017 and 2016 requests for income and expense information have been received. Page 5 provides rent comparables, and in this case, we are using for gas stations. We are using rent comparables based on pad side rent comparables. So with that, we can see annual pad side rent value as well as SKP square footage, VCW square footage, which is not applicable in subject property case. So we are looking at SKPW square footage and their respective lease start dates, terms, as well as arrived net rent per square foot. So subject property is just about forgot. Subject property is 278 square feet kiosk. So within that, if we look at there's a range of small kiosk ranging anywhere from $160 per. They're ranging around $160 per square foot for smaller kiosks. And okay, land comparable sales is page number 5. It provides land sales in the area. And land sales are at range anywhere from $2.24 to $23.51 per square foot. Yeah, for the property information, what we have is we have one income stream, which is a kiosk at $190.87 per square foot, 278 square feet. Potential rent $53,062. 2% vacancy, 2% expenses, $6 per square foot shortfall, and capitalization rate of 6.3%, as well as additional land value and additional building value, arrives at the value of $996,000. Page 7 is a repeat of page 6. Page 8 provide a breakdown on the additional values for gas pumps and canopies of $137,000, as well as surplus value for land at $2.24 per square foot, and the surplus area of 22,767 square feet, arriving at value of $51,000. Again, capitalization rates. We are looking at office suburban big capitalization rates, which range from 5.55% to 9.05%. Page 10 is some excerpts from Municipal Assessment Act, and page 11, income and expense report for 2017 for the subject property. Pad side rent is $18,000 a year. Page 15 has information about the permit. Again, actually no. Permit is page 16. I'm sorry. So page 16 provides information about the permit, and as you can see, it's August 2012 permit to construct an additional 139 square feet. Page 17 is an engineering statement regarding the addition. And page 19, to the end of the report, provides City of Winnipeg position on 5% management expenses that have been removed for 2020 cycle. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Okay, now, first things first. On your first page, you say that there are 3 buildings. There's one building that's a gas kiosk. Is that correct?
As I said, there is 3 buildings that consist of one building, which is a gas kiosk. Why there's 3 buildings? Because it's been each addition is a different building.
You're suggesting that this 278 square foot gas kiosk is 3 buildings?
It's a one building consisting of additions.
Okay, that's erroneous, but okay. Have you visited this property?
Yes, I have.
You have? Okay. And you're still of the opinion that there are 3 buildings on this premise?
It is a one building. However, the building has had additions. That is why record indicates 3 buildings to reflect
Okay, and
every
it's
one of the
278 square feet. It's a hut. It's a gas kiosk where the gas attendant takes your payment for gas. Correct? That's the nature of this building.
So it's a kiosk. And
it's a kiosk. Okay.
And
now,
there is in the new addition, the customer is able to enter the building to and within the kiosk there is a display area for certain items for sale, such as chips and stuff, some gum, and the customer is able to enter the building to pay for the purchases.
There's a door that the customer can walk in and purchase items such as chips and gum. We're clear on that? Now, the original assessment prior to the supplementary was modeled at $663,000. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, based on a permit that was issued in 2012, which provided a nominal increase in the size of the kiosk, we're suggesting that the value go from $663,000 to almost $1 million. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. So just so we're clear, that's a $333,000 increase based on a 139 square foot addition to a gas kiosk, an existing gas kiosk that was built in the 80s. Okay, page 3, your street view photos. You've been to this property, so you're aware that this is one of the few, if not the only, self-serve domos in the city. Are you aware of that?
Well, it is a self-serve domo. I'm not aware whether it's one of the only or
Okay.
few.
And it's got 4 handles, correct? So the capacity is 4 cars, making it one of the smaller, older style iterations of gas bars in the city. Is that correct?
Yes, there is four pumps. Yes.
4 handles, okay. And just to be abundantly clear, when that addition was created in 2012, we did not add any new pumps, new handles, anything like that. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Would you agree with me that the potential net market rent at a gas station is based on the ability to sell literage? It's based on sales volume, correct?
Oh, that's so what? Sorry, could you repeat your question?
Yeah, the retail petroleum industry derives a net market rent for these assets based on their ability to sell literage, to sell volumes of gas. It's a small margin, high volume business. Is that correct?
Well, again, the petroleum industry does their own calculations to arrive at the values. I would assume that literage is part of it.
Okay. All right, so let's go to page 4. Now, you've mentioned that the income and expenses were requested and submitted, but then right below that, it says that there's no subject property leases, but that information was given to you in the income and expense questionnaires, was it not?
Well, it's a land lease. That's the information we have is a land lease.
So they did submit a rate to you. Was that used in determining this rate?
Well, the model takes into consideration everything. I cannot speak on the model which rate they used.
For the purpose of this exercise, did you go back to 2012 and look through the different cycles and see if there's been any substantial increase or any increase at all in terms of the net market rent for this asset based on the addition of 139 square feet of gas kiosk?
Gas kiosk was added for 2019 forward. It was not added going back to 2012.
I'm aware of that. I'm asking you if in 2012, did the owner report that their net market rent was higher based on the addition of 139 square feet of gas kiosk? Did their rental rate go up? You're suggesting that it ought to increase by 50%.
Oh, I didn't look back that far.
Okay, I'm looking at it. All right. That's fine. Now, let's look at page 5. I have a full rebuttal document here that's been provided. This just shows you the photos of the assessor's comps. I'll walk through them, but if it's helpful, you can see the photos. Good to go? Perfect. Okay. So, did you select these comps yourself?
Those are standard comparables used by the City of Winnipeg Assessment.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
Those are standard comparables used to defend the gas stations.
They're standard comparables. Did you review them for the purpose of this exercise today to see that they're indeed appropriate when looking at our subject?
Well, when I look at it, what I see is we have a wide range of square footage as well as wide range of rents per square foot.
Okay. And
When I review it further, let me just finish it, please. I see that the smaller ones are $160 per square foot. I mean, the smaller the size, the higher price per square foot. The larger they are, the smaller price per square foot. Comparables, they range in I have 500 square foot one at
Yeah, no, I
188,
understand
and I have smaller ones at about $160, $160, $150 per square foot. But also, when I look at it, we also have to look at the lease start dates, and we can see that a lot of the leases are quite old.
okay, so you think these are comparable is the short answer.
They're comparable that we're using.
Okay.
Yes. Mhm.
So you think that 690 Sterling Lion, which is the Seasons of Tuxedo, that's a Shell station with a 2,200 square foot convenience store and a detached car wash. You think that's comparable to our small little four-handle Domo?
No,
middle of the field, one area.
I say that we have to look at smaller square footage gas stations. So, and when we look at it, we have to look at the smaller ones. Not all of them are comparable.
Okay, but you've literally included this as a table called rent comparable, so I'm going to assume that you're suggesting these are comparable to our subject. Now, just to be very clear, this is the Shell station, the Seasons of Tuxedo. It has an 8-car capacity, a car wash, and a 2,250 square foot convenience store. Is it safe to say that that's superior to our subject?
It is.
Okay, and now when you have this section called the lease information, did you actually look at the income and expense questionnaires submitted by these owners?
For the comparables?
For all of them?
No, I did not.
You did not. Okay. What's interesting to me is you've got these net rents per square foot. I've looked at a number of income and expense questionnaires, including the ones that I have information for these, and there's not a single owner that reports on a per square footage basis. It's not done in the gas station industry. So these are imputed. Is that correct?
Oh, they are derived using annual pad side rent, yes.
So it's not really lease information.
Well, the pad side rent is a lease, right?
Okay, so just for example, just sort of skipping ahead, but I'll come back to number 2. For all of these VCWs, the car washes, you've suggested $10.50 per square foot. Now that's the first indication that this is imputed because, first of all, none of these owners are actually saying that their rent for the car wash is separate from the main holding of the gas station entity. And secondly, they're all signed in different places at different times. So what are the odds that they're all $10.50 a square foot?
Well, those rents are calculated in a way that
Right.
pad side information was taken
Okay.
into consideration.
All right. So,
And let me just finish answering it. If you like. So pad side information was taken into consideration to calculate those values. So 1050 was attributed to vehicle service garage, with the balance being attributed to
okay.
To the kiosks.
But you've erroneously called this lease information. It's not lease information. This is a value that you've imputed. There's no owner that has said to you, we're paying $10.50 per square foot for the car wash, and the balance of the annual rent per annum is going to the C store or to the gas bar operation. And the reason why this is important is when you take the actual annual pad site rent, and when you put the vehicle, the car wash square footage back in there, you end up with a completely different net rent on what you're calling the SKP. Are you aware of that?
So if you take if you take what out of the
When you depress the value on the car wash to $10.50 and you separate it over 1,300 square feet, 1,100, 2,600 square feet, when you separate that from the main holding, that artificially inflates what you're calling the SKP net rent. So none of this has any bearing on the reality of gas stations or gas station rents.
But the bearing it has on is that the reality of it, that the bad side is a minimum rent is just for the empty lot, and the reality is that those improvements are on the site.
Okay, I want to make it very clear that this is not lease information. This is the city's modeled information, and that those are all imputed rents on the VCW, which artificially inflates the SKP. That's fine. Now, did you say that
Was that the question?
moving along. So have you agreed with me then that the comp one is superior or comparable to our subject?
I did agree with you that comparable one is superior.
Okay, and is comp two a gas station?
Well, Camp 2 was a gas station.
Was a gas station. Okay, and you're suggesting that it's 500 square feet? It's
At the time it was a gas station, it was 500 square
Nope,
feet.
it was not. Physical structure, I know this one. This is on the corner of Shepherd and Inkster. I know this very well. Been there a number of times. In the commercial section details of your own city website, it shows us that convenience store is 900 square feet. And it's not a gas station. Can we agree on that?
Oh, currently it is not a gas station,
Right.
but back in 2017 it was.
No, it wasn't. It was not a gas station in 2017. It was a gas station in, I believe it was pre-14, if I'm not mistaken. It was built in the 90s. It used to be a Tempo, and now they do money transfers and they sell takeaway food like chicken and pizza and things of that nature. Comp 3, that's a Shell store, or it was, at the Island Lake Strip Mall. Now, that was demolished in 2015, is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so why is it in our study if it hasn't been, it was demolished 5 years ago? Why is that included here?
Well, Comp 3, we have a lease start date of 2012. So back in 2012, it was a gas station with that rent. That's why it is included.
Okay, is it typical to use scraped buildings in your rent comp tables?
Not ideal.
Not ideal. Okay, comp 4, that's it's actually 296 Madison. We represent that property as well. Now that one is a very similar asset. That's a 4-handle capacity in the Madison Square area. It's also a domo. Now, when I look at just to the sake of argument, you're using 160 per square foot, correct?
Correct.
And that's by far the most similar, I would suggest the only similar comp that you've got here. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And
Moving on is-
it's like we have to look at the actual year built of this Comp 2, right?
Okay.
1990.
Comp 5, that's the Tuxedo Park Shopping Center, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that's a far superior location. Can we agree on that?
Well, it is a superior location, yes.
Far superior. It's got an 8-car capacity, so it's twice as large. It's got a large convenience store, and it's also grocery anchored. It's in Tuxedo, correct? Okay. Can we agree that that's superior to our subject?
Oh, that's the question, yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. 705 Osborne, that's South Osborne. That's the Husky. 1,300 square foot convenience store. Again, 8-car capacity, superior location, higher traffic. Can you agree with me that that's superior?
All right, and location-wise, Osborne is more desirable location. I guess what I have to be adding to your questions and go back to some of the questions that we also have to look at the size of the property. So yes, it is superior in size as well. Year built. We'll
And it
also
has
have to
8
look at-
pumps versus 4, so it would be superior in virtually every way, correct?
Well, in virtually in virtually every way, but we also have to look at some of the year builds. But we probably should be looking at the comparables that are similar in size to subject property.
Yeah, it's not similar in size. That's the issue. It's not similar in any way. Comp 7 is in Elmwood. That's the Petrocan. Again, large convenience store, 8-car capacity, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, Comp 8 is on Ness. That is in the actual Madison Square Safeway. I believe that they have a promotion with the Safeway. So it is grocery anchored, if not grocery incentivized. It has a large convenience store, and that has an 8-car capacity, correct?
Which one's Comp 9?
That's Comp 8,
Comp 8?
Madison
Okay.
Square.
Okay.
Okay. Comp 9, that's the mobile gas at the Crossroads Station on Regent. That has a 10-car capacity. That's grocery and retail anchored. Are you aware of that? And would you consider that a superior location in terms of traffic and stability to move leaderage.
Yeah, it's a better location.
Okay. 9, so 10, we're into, that's the SO at Kenniston Crossing. Again, superior location, agreed? It's Kenniston Boulevard.
Well, it is kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's got an 8-car capacity, twice the size of ours. Newer asset, and it's also grocery and retail anchored. Is that correct?
I can,
Okay.
I wouldn't know what the check is.
These are your comps. Now, comp 11, that's Henderson Highway, so that's Rossmere, that's a co-op, and that's actually a 12-car capacity. Is that correct?
We're at Camp 11, 1070 Henderson.
Comp 11, yeah. It's a co-op on Henderson,
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a better location
but it's got a,
and the
capacity is 3
better
times.
capacity, yes.
Okay. And I note too that you've listed the convenience store as, where is it here? Comp 11, you've got 580 square feet. I know that that's not right, so I went to the construction details or the commercial section details on your site. It's 1,685 square feet. Okay, right? So that's a larger, that's the newer iteration of these convenience stores.
Yeah, so we'll have to look at that, but yeah, we'll have to look at this. Is 1995 lease on Camp 11 that we have. So back in 1995, it was 580.
Okay, so we've got a, sorry, you're saying in 1995 it was 5, and that's why you're using 500 square feet?
Yeah.
Using today's rental rate with a physical asset that was as it was in 1995?
Well, that's what it looks like.
Okay. Okay. Just keep going here. Now comp 12. That's Regent at Owen. That is a co-op, and that's the largest of the bunch. That's a 16-car capacity, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's got a large convenience store and a detached car wash. Now the other two you've got here are car washes only, and I believe you said that those are not. We're not talking about those. So, then, for the sake of expedience, we'll just move forward. Okay. So those are the comps. Now, on to. Right. Okay. That's your comps. If we go to page 6, we've gone through all of your comps, and I believe that you've generally agreed with me that your comparables are superior to our subject, correct?
Well, they're superior in locations. They are inferior in lot size.
All right. So if your comps are superior, and the high end of your range on your comps on a per square foot basis, again, which is not recognized by the market, but the high end of your comps on a per square foot basis is $160 a square foot, then how is it possible that ours is applied a modeled rent of $190.87 a square foot? Does that not seem illogical to you?
That's age of the building. It is a 2020 addition to 2012 addition to such a property.
The age of the building. And we're not taking into account that it's 300 square, not even 300 square feet. Okay. All right. Now, something that always jumps out at me here, you've got your adjustments. Now that's based on the depreciating value of pumps, tanks, and canopies, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, this is based on 80-year life cycle Marshall and Swift. Is that correct?
Based on Marshall and Swift.
It is. Okay. And Marshall and Swift, what depreciation rate do they cap these assets at, please?
Marshall and Swift?
Yeah.
I do not have Marshall and Swift with me to answer the question.
Well, it's 65%. And the reason that I bring this up, and we'll talk about this briefly in the next file is the city has now capped the depreciation rate to 36%. And in the previous cycle, it was 50%. So are you aware that your depreciating assets are actually appreciating cycle over cycle?
I am aware that there was a model error in previous cycle where it was 50%. It should have been 30. It should have been
65% based on Marshall and Swift, which would be industry standard. Okay. The other thing that I do notice in your income markup, just to flip back here very quickly, you've removed the 5% non-recoverable, and we've all got our thoughts on that, I'm sure. But I suppose my question is twofold. Does the market continue to apply a downward erosion to the effective gross income for commercial properties?
What do you mean by downward?
Well, if we're here to determine market value, that's based on market behavior. So I'm asking you, I understand that the city stopped applying the 5%, but has the market stopped applying the 5%? Or does the market continue to apply a 5% erosion as a means to capture the competent management of property?
I'm not sure exactly what your question is as far as 5%
I'm asking
was
about market behavior. Does the market, I understand that the city has changed their methodology. Has the market changed their methodology? Or does the market continue as they've always gone forward with the pro formas?
He's not the market.
We are here to determine market value, but that's fair. So in terms of narrowing it down to assessment issues, then if you remove the 5%, have you adjusted your cap rates to reflect that?
the 5% was removed because 5% management expense fee is actually accounted for in.
No, I understand the city's position. I'm just asking you if the cap rates have changed based on that adjustment.
I cannot answer that question.
Okay. And did I hear you correctly in your submission? You said that you're using cap rates based on the office. I think you said office
Yes.
suburban.
Yeah, in this situation, yes.
So you think that this gas kiosk is an office?
Well, gas kiosk doesn't have a separate category. Some things do not have a separate category, so they fall in more of a general category. And
Generally be considered retail?
and in this case, we are using office.
Okay. All right. Again, page 11, we have included the owner's income and expense workup, and that does show you on page 13 of your brief that they're showing you a monthly rent of $1,500 per month, correct?
Which is annual 18,000, yes.
Annually 18,000. And you're suggesting, I think, 53? Okay. That's fine. Now, the leasable area, this is interesting, reported by the owner is 123 square feet. So they've created this extra space, but it's so nominal that they haven't even accounted for it on their own mailer, correct?
Well, I cannot speak to the owner why or why not, why they are using 123. Perhaps you can answer that question.
But you can acknowledge that 123 square feet is what's been reported.
Are we arguing the square footage?
Yeah, we have square footage is a big part of our argument because you're suggesting that the value is increased abnormally based on a small increase. Now, I look at the permit on page 16. The declared construction value is $52,316. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and you're suggesting that that's added over $300,000 in market value, correct?
Well, do you, I guess, market value is derived at prices per square foot based on comparable rents. That is why is the value where it is. Do you suggest that we should go by the declared construction value when we value the buildings?
No, I don't. No. Okay. Let's just keep moving on here. We have then the letters from the engineers. Did you read these? You included them?
Yeah, I have read them to a degree a while back.
Okay, so a while back. Okay. So then we've got page 18. now, did this strike you as interesting? It says, please accept this letter in reference to the solution that was implemented regarding the potential danger of someone being inadvertently locked inside the kiosk due to a closed shutter, unable to open it from the inside. Now, does that sort of ring any bells to you where this might be an issue of safety for the attendant as opposed to maximizing profitability from a net rental perspective?
Well, it's, so what was the question again about it?
I think that perhaps that this addition was created for the safety of the attendant as opposed to increase the potential net market rent of the gas station.
I believe this is intended to a capacity of the, so nobody will be able to lock themselves inside. So that's what it is intended to.
They need to be able to get out once they lock themselves inside. So I guess my final question is, in terms of retail, do you suppose that gas stations are a higher risk for things like theft and robbery than traditional retail?
Well, there is a, I guess I didn't do a specific search in it, but I kind of would agree with you in a way that they're probably a bit more dangerous in that way, yes.
Okay, those are my questions. Thank you.
I have no question.
No questions.
Okay, so just to be sure, in your rent comp proposal, you're saying that you're only using the smaller kiosk type ones in your comp proposal?
Yes, and like this, again, those are standard comparables for kiosks that we City Winnipeg uses, but then we have to tailor it to match to be a better match to subject property. So in this case, the smaller ones would be a better match.
But the rent you're using of $190 seems to be higher.
Yes, it is. And the only reason why it went that way is because the 2012 addition was added to the property record, and that is the model considers it newer. As you can see, all of the comparables are slightly older.
Okay, all right, thank you. So you can proceed.
Thank you. Okay, again, we're at 1032 Marion. We've got a gas station that was built in 1983 and a safety area was built in 2012 for the attendant. And I alluded to in my cross-examination, this is now a self-serve gas station. So the attendant is inside this, the kiosk, he's behind a counter, and that was done for safety reasons. Again, this is one of the smaller iterations of the modern gas station. It is 4 handles. And just to orient ourselves, it's sort of in the middle of a field here. 1032 Marion, that's the south side of Marion between Turin to the west and Holden to the east. Again, small wood frame kiosk. It was built in 1983. The original area was 42 square feet. So that was the that's a bit of, you can imagine almost like a crossing guard area. That's very small. So you would go in and pay the attendant. They would, back in the days when I assume they would jump to the pump, but now you pump your own gas there. So, but again, it was 4 pumps. So it was that original 1980s iteration. They built a second edition of 96 square feet, not an addition, but they expanded that area in 2005. And then in 2012, they added 140 square feet approximately. Again, we've got a reported wall height of 10 feet, and the total area of this gas kiosk is 278 square feet. It's important to point out that the number of pumps has not changed since 2012, when the addition was built, nor has it changed since 1983. This has always been a 4-handle, 4-car capacity dome station. Okay, so site size is rectangular. Total site size according to the city of Winnipeg is 39,961 square feet. There's a land adjustment that we've applied, and that's not in dispute today. We have photos starting on page 3. Now, when this sub came out, I visited the property, a senior director in our firm has visited it, and then one of our analysts has visited as well. So we're well versed in this property. At least 3 of us that I'm aware of have visited it. You can see that we've got 4 pumps. And you can see the interior. Now this is behind the attendance area. This is storage for soda, things like that. And again, this is a small confectionery where you walk in, you pay for your gas, and you can buy gum and air fresheners and things of that nature. Okay, so the original assessment was $633,000. So that's included here. All the inputs, and the potential income was modeled at $25,305. Now, we maintain the opinion that the ability to generate a net market rent is based on the number of pumps, which again, I can't stress enough, has not changed over the life of this asset. In 2016, the net market rent was estimated to be $19,840. In 2018, it was $24,088. So as we've shown above, the valuation of the property was based upon a net market rent of $25,305, reflecting the smaller size of the location. Now, this is crucial. The rent is reflective of the fact, again, there are only 4 single pumps with smaller gas sale volumes. The adjustments of $247,000 were based upon the additional value for the replacement cost new, depreciating pumps, tanks, and canopies, and then an additional value for excess land. We did file an appeal on the original 2020 assessment of $633,000. Now, in connection with that original appeal, the assessor indicated that he'd be requesting an increase due again to the addition of the small kiosk area from 2012. So the assessor's brief indicated a request to increase the assessment as follows: to increase the 2020 assessment value from $633,000 to $996,000 to correct the leasable area based on the addition built in 2012-2013, and he gives the permit number. The original 2020 assessment appeal was withdrawn by Altus. However, the assessor has subsequently issued a supplementary assessment notices for both 19 and 20, which is what we're discussing today. And the 2020 supplementary notice was issued at precisely the value of $996. The same values had been requested in connection with the original 2020 appeal. The 2020 supplementary was based on a revised net rent of $53,062, which in turn was ostensibly based on a market rent of $190.87 per square foot, much higher than anything we see in the market, to be certain, and far out of whack from what we've seen at the capacity of this asset to produce a net market rent. The revised market rent had more than doubled between the original and revised 2020 assessment, despite the fact that, again, the number of pumps remains the same and has remained the same since 2012. Now, what's interesting too is when we go back in our files, we note that the assessor recommended a reduction in 2016 to a total value of $344,000. So that was also based on exactly the same physical asset as it exists today. I've included here on page 10 the assessor's revised valuation, and you can see this is how he comes to 996, and it's based largely on that inflated rent per square foot, bringing us to a potential income of $53,000 based on the addition of 140 square feet of kiosk space. Okay, so again, that's more than double the net rent, despite the fact that there's been no changes. We don't believe that this market rent is warranted or justifiable, and it's not at all consistent with market indicators. The expansion of the kiosk, as I alluded to, was due to the safety concerns for the employees. It provided them a safe area to retreat to and call for help in the event of a robbery or attempted robbery. It had nothing to do whatsoever with the viability or the profitability of the site. We submit that the expansion has no effect on value whatsoever in this case. As I alluded to again, the primary indicator of rental value for gas bar operations Has nothing to do with the size of the kiosk, but that facilitates the sales, facilitates gasoline sales. You need a place to go in and actually pay for the gas, and then there are pickup items, of course, but the net rent is based on literage. The proxy for literage is the number of pumps. If you can sell more gas, you'll have more pumps. If you have a lower sales volume, you have less pumps. Again, this is one of the smaller ones. We can, if we go to page 13, we can classify or bracket these different gas operations by in 3 different classes. So the type we're looking at today is the 4-car capacity. We call that the, for lack of a better term, Class C. That's a 4-car capacity. These are the smallest gas bar operations in Winnipeg, generally from the 70s and 80s. We have Class B, which are the mid-size operations. So we have generally an 8-car capacity with 8 handles, actual convenience stores versus smaller kiosk areas. So in these convenience stores, we've all been in them. You can buy, food and drinks, and some of them even have sit-down coffee areas and things of that nature, lottery, tobacco, and they also often have car washes. Present day, the more modern iteration of our gas stations that we know of are between 12 and often 16 car capacities, large convenience stores, as well as detached car washes. So simply put, the net rent that's achievable by a gas bar or gas station is directly correlated to the sales volume. And that sales volume is indicated by the number of pumps at that site. So the owner is submitting that the net rent in place at the site is $18,000, which again is representative of the fact that it's a small operation with limited profitability. And this net rent is consistent with other market indicators for small gas bar operations in Winnipeg. So on page 14, I have included 4 comps here that are the older style, built between, 1960 and 1993 effectively. And we see an average net rent of $29,675 with a median of $28,750. And I provide photos of these indices for you. You can see we've got the Domo at Academy Road. That's the Tempo in the Maples. That's on Mandalay. We've got the Domo at Leela, which is retail and retail anchored to be certain. It's outside the Staples. And then further down Leela, we see the other smaller Domo. And I will point out that is a larger C store, though again, it's not based on the size of the kiosk. It's based on the number of pumps. So for the purposes of this report, and based on the net market indicators that we've submitted, we submit that an appropriate net market rent should be no more than $27,500. That's notwithstanding that this rent is slightly higher than the net market rent of $25,305 applied by the assessor in connection with 2020. So originally the assessor said $25,305. Our analysis is saying that $27,500 is reasonable. Vacancy is not disputed at 2%. Shortfall at $6 is fine. Again, we continue to apply an allowance of $7 of effective gross income for the non-recovered expenses. For more info on that, I do point you to our detailed submission that I've included here today, and I'm happy to speak to it. Now, again, the assessor has mentioned something about office cap rates. However, we've included our cap study for retail, and we suggest that a cap rate of no less than 7.5% should be applied. So we've used 7.5, and we've not argued with the adjustments. So if you come with me to page 18, please, you can see all of these factors, when taken together, lead us to an indicated market value of $521,732. Now, I did mention the 5% in my cross-examination. Now, if for any reason you're not satisfied with our 5% argument, that's fine, but our cap rate study does include the 5% in every single one of the calculations. So if we don't apply it there, then it ought to be adjusted to the cap rate. We've done an internal, now the net quantum changes based on the asset when you remove the 5%. But for this one, If you don't believe the 5% is appropriate, that's fine. But then we would submit that the cap rate ought to be 7.75, which leads us to an indicated market value of 528. So just in summary, without the 5%, we're looking at 522. Sorry, with the 5%, we're at 522. Without the 5%, we're at 528. So I will leave that in your hands. We've talked about the 5% a number of times, so that's what we submit. So again, just to sum up, we respectfully request that the Board of Revision reduce the 2020 realty assessment for the subject property from $996,000 to a more appropriate rate of, again, 522 to 528, based on the contents of our submission. The balance of our submission is supporting documents, so you can see the actual physical asset, as well as the workups, the original assessment, the supplementary, which I alluded to, the building details, the owner's income and expense questionnaires. We do remark that the permit details are in here, and the declared construction value was $53,000. And we also include the letters that the assessor has included in his brief regarding the letters from the engineers. And we also have our 2018 workup showing you the trajectory of value on this property. So, barring any questions, that is my submission. Thank you very much.
Page 18 of your report provides calculation that you have made. You state that the building age is 1983.
Yeah.
So you do not give any account to the additions that have been built to the building?
No, we're not going to put an age variance on the original wood frame building to 2012. And I will suggest to you that the age of that building has no bearing on the ability of this asset to produce a market rent, as I think I've made abundantly clear.
So you have stated many times the purpose why the addition was built, and you mentioned safety reasons. Could you please tell me, are you aware of how this building was prior to the addition was built?
Sorry, I think there's two questions there. So firstly, we spoke to the owner, and there was a safety concern. Now I alluded to this in my cross. If you're familiar with crime prevention and environmental design, gas stations and convenience stores tend to be targets of crime more likely than regular retail. Long hours, short staff, they're often on roadways, on infrastructure. So, and there's also the perception of cash on hand. So gas stations and convenience stores tend to be robbed more often. I think that's generally common knowledge. There were some issues in this area, largely based on the fact that this asset is actually in the middle of almost a field. So there was a concern. Something happened in one of the 7-Elevens down Marion as well that I'm aware of. So there was a concern that should something transpire, the attendant should be able to lock themselves in to this area and call for help. That's why this was built.
So is that so they're locking themselves in the new area that was built?
They're locking themselves into the new area. The new area that was built includes the ability to lock the doors remotely and to have a safe place to call for help should anything transpire. Yes.
But the new area also provides a store frontage to the gas station. Would you agree with me with that?
The Domos sell air fresheners, they sell potato chips, and they sell soda as pickup items.
I guess convenience items, correct? But however, the new area does provide the ability to display and sell those items. Would you agree with me?
Well, when I think of the Domo on Leela, they display and sell, they've got coolers outside that are selling soda, they've got racks of chips. I'm going to suggest to you that they did not build this addition in order to sell more soda and more potato chips.
Why does they have why did they have a display area for the merchandise and in the new addition?
Nobody is contesting the fact that they sell air fresheners, gum, soda pop, and chips.
So what I'm trying to say, with the new addition, a customer is able to enter the building,
To walk through a door, yeah.
to walk through the
and
door,
Pay for their gas.
pay for the purchases
Right.
in the climate controlled environment.
Well, I don't know if it's
But-
climate controlled, but I don't know anything about that.
Oh, it's heated, right?
I would hope so, yeah.
So it is a, whereas in prior to
I think it was
the-
heated before though, wasn't it?
prior to the addition, and then I look at the pictures, let's look at the pictures
Sure.
again.
Can I ask that we get a little bit more precise?
Okay, so when I look at the pictures,
Taking a long time.
yeah, sorry, yeah, I'll be quick. So when I look at the pictures, it does appear that it wasn't the case prior to the addition. It looks like the kiosk area is there's a storage behind, there's a kiosk in front, and the customer is not able to go inside.
The customer was always able to go inside and pay for their gas, of course. That's preposterous. Of course, they were able to go inside.
So that's your statement, right? I'm just asking you. Looking at the pictures, it appears to me that the pre-2012 edition was not able to provide area for the customer to go inside, so customer pays through the window. That's what it appears to me. Would you agree with me on that?
No, I don't agree with you at all.
Okay, that's all my questions. Thank you.
I have no questions.
Carrie, any questions?
No questions.
Okay, I noticed that Arcady had some rebuttal evidence. Do you want to refer to that rebuttal evidence?
Again, this rebuttal evidence was introduced a number of times.
Yeah, so the rebuttal evidence.
So we'll start with I guess rebuttal evidence for. Let's see,
If it's dealing with
well, it's
non-recoverable,
yeah, that's exactly my point. It's non-recoverable and cap rate studies that Altos and City of Winnipeg have been bringing forward many times. So it's the same evidence.
unless there's something specific that you want to bring up there.
I'll just quickly read the page 3 of the rebuttal package, which is called Altos 2020-21 Realty Assessment Non-Recoverable Expense Study. And on page 3 of that, the rebuttal package justifies the following. The historic 5% management expense was in fact an expense relating to the standard management fees charged by the owner. And we all know that management fees are reflected in the net rent, so that's why City of Winnipeg have removed them. The expenses Altos Group determined as non-recoverable are contrary to the assessment case law in Manitoba, and they're not to be treated as expenses. The expenses Altos Group determined as non-recoverable are typically important when utilizing a discount cash flow methods of analysis. Asset management fees are non-allowable operating expenses items. Altos Group analysis of percent of AMI does not exist in appraisal theory and is flawed. The use of medians rather than averages changes the result of Altos Group's analysis and conclusions from 5.75 to 4.78%. After analyzing effective gross income for several indices in the Altos Group study, ATD has determined the range of non-recoverable expenses net of vacancy shortfall is between negative 0.71% and 5.28% of EGI with a median of 1.06%. ATD methodology is consistent with Saskatchewan, SAMA, and Ontario MPAC. And further on, it provides management, it provides municipal assessment cases on page 4 and 5 that support a City of Winnipeg assessment case in these situations. That's in brief what it is.
No, I don't, Mr. Chairman.
May I just respond to that very quickly? Just when I asked you about the 5%, you said that you couldn't speak to it. But, and I know for the sake of expediency, I'm not going to go through every point, but just for the record, I don't agree with any of these points here. I think this is, we could talk all day about it, but I think this board has heard both of our positions on the 5%. And I have provided you with options on the 5% or without the 5%. So let's agree to disagree on the methodology of that.
All right, summation.
Just a quick summation. It's abundantly clear to us that the addition of a small kiosk should not result in this sort of increase in market value. It's completely out of whack with market behavior. Thank you.
All right, so we will go on to the 2019 supplementary. Now let's assume that we've heard everything we just heard and just deal with what's different.
May I ask for a couple of pieces?
Oh, okay. Sure. Five minutes. Okay, and now let's do the 2019 for 1032 Marion. And again, just what's different from the 2020.
Okay, so file number 2043, roll number 06032448. 500, 1032 Marion Street, Doma Gasoline Corporation Limited, 2019 roll year with reference date of April 1st, 2016. It's a gas station with 278 square feet property. Overall, the physical condition is the same as in the previous 2020 appeal. A supplementary was issued for the same reason, is the addition of the 139 square foot area. Comparables that are used are very similar in respect to SKP gas stations on page number 5. We're using different reference date for it. And yes, so what we have is we have different rate per square foot of 183.41. We have different additional land value and we have different additional building values in this for this property. So page 8 provides detached structure details of $9,000 and as well as a surplus land value of $72,000 at $3.16 per square foot. And again, the value for land is derived from page 5 land sales comparables, where we have a range of land land sales ranging anywhere from $3.16 to $12.14. So $3.16 is a value we're using to attribute to the excess land value. Very similar situation. We're using capitalization rates of Office B, Office Suburban B, which in this case ranges from 5.25% to 8.5%. Income and expense report. I'll have to state that it wouldn't be applicable in this case because it's a post-reference income and expense mailer for subject property. So I ask the panel to ignore that particular information. And another thing that is different from the previous one is in 2019 cycle, City of Winnipeg did use 7% expenses including management. You can see it on page number 6. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Okay, yeah, so I think we've mostly covered everything. The major differences here, we've got a small change in the value per square foot from the last cycle. You've included the 7%. And of course, this is what I alluded to, the depreciation rate is 50% in the previous cycle, and it's 36% now. I think that is mostly it. And again, this was heard in the last cycle, and the order was 496, I believe. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So the last order was at 496,000. Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
I have no questions.
Okay. The only question I have is why did the land value go up? It was higher in 2019 than 2020.
Well, it is based on comparable land sales, as you can see on page 5, and we're using the least value available. So in the 2020 cycle, there was a sale that that was at a lower price per square foot. I believe it was $2 something, and that's what we used in 2020 cycle for excess land calculation.
All right, just seems kind of counterintuitive that the prices go down and up. All right, no other questions, so you can proceed.
Okay. So very quickly, I think we've gone over this. We recognize that we've got a small gas station on Marion. The assessor is suggesting $8.59. There's been no physical change since this board ruled based on the same evidence to $4.96. So we have 2 requests. Now we've done our workup again, and we come to $436,000, and that is based on same comparables. We've all used the same comparables. We've gone through them. We're using 4-handle properties. We're not using 16 or 12 or 8 or anything larger. We tried to find the most comparable we could, and so we've applied a rate. Where are we here? Sorry. We've applied a net market rate of 24,000 for this cycle. Vacancy at 5% undisputed, management and structural erosions at 7%, which is undisputed, with an 8% cap, giving us an indicated market value of $435,587, which is well in line with our submission for 2020. Though we do recognize that this has been heard by this board already, so our requested assessment is $436,000, but our alternate request is just to maintain or restore the 2019 as was ordered at $496,000. Thank you.
Any questions, Arthur?
I just have one question. I guess it's not page number, but you have your comparables here, 4 comparables that you have. That you're using on Academy, Mandalay, Layla, and Henderson Highway. So it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it's page number 8. So do you see that? That where you are stating that average is $29,000 and median is $28,750.
Yep.
And you said operates very similar kiosk with annual rental between $25,000 and $36,000. Yet on your
Sorry, I can't hear you.
indices 1, 3, and 4 are Doma kiosk operations, very similar to subject property gas bar with annual rents of $25,200 and $36,000, right? So those are the comparables you are using, but yet in your calculation you are using lesser values. Would you be able to?
We're using 24,000.
Yes.
These are superior. These would be considered superior, so it's well within range. If we're saying that the rents are between 25,200 and 36,000, 24,000 is reasonable. It's well within the acceptable range. That's what we're using.
But subject properties, land size is significantly larger than any of those comparables.
The land size has nothing to do with the ability for a gas station to sell gas. On top of that, there's already been an adjustment that's been accepted for the excess land.
Those are all my questions. Thank you.
Jared, maybe you've answered this. Why did you only use 124 square feet? Given the fact that the kiosk.
Well, this is in, yeah, this is in 18. So that's what the was reported. So we don't approach gas stations generally on a per square foot basis when they are kiosks like this. We look at the actual the net market rent per annum. If it looks low, we look to the market to see what's out there. So we saw, between 26 and 32. This one again is not grocery anchored. It's not retail anchored. It's in the middle of the field on Marion. It has a lower profitability. We talked to the owner. We know what the general literage is compared to the rest of the gas station universe. So we used 24,000. I think the main point of what we're talking about today is that the size of the gas bar has zero bearing on the ability to determine a net market rent. Everything is based on the amount of handles, the amount of gas that can be sold at a location.
But yet, didn't you use it for 2020, 348?
For 2020, we used 248 based on the sub, but we didn't know that the difference was.
Oh, this is the sub too.
Okay.
Is it not?
Sorry, for this workup. Yeah, we did, but it's we're not basing it on a per square foot basis, so we could. Yeah, no, you're correct. We should have. But that is that is the request of the original 2019 hearing. So yeah, I suppose we could have updated it.
The 2019 hearing would have been based on the original roll, correct?
Right. Yeah.
So that would have been based on the one.
The 19 hearing. Well, I have our submission here in the back of our brief, and we did use, I believe it was 124. Let me just double check here.
Which is, I believe, is correct.
Right.
For the original roll.
Right.
I don't think the assessor's going to argue that the original roll is based on square feet. That's correct. The sub
Right.
is based on 248 square feet.
Right.
Which you used for the 2020 sub.
Right.
Didn't use it.
We didn't update it for this one. No, that's correct. That would be an error. But the actual potential net market income would stay the same. So it would still be that 24,000 regardless of if it were 200 or 124.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
This should have asked it before. Is this owner occupied?
It's interesting. Sort of, not really. They're related companies. They're semi-related companies is the best way I can put it. So that's why we don't use their actuals. They don't treat them as related companies, but we say that anything that has any sort of commingling whatsoever, we look to the market. So that's why we don't take their actuals. We take them into account, but we do look for market comps. They're fully arm's length. So that's how we came to our potential net market income. We use actual market comps versus what the owner is reporting, because we do know there is some relationship there. So any kind of relationship whatsoever, we do not apply. Yeah. Yeah, they say that they're not, but we say it's a little too close to not look to the market for comps. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Let's go to 1655 Dougal.
You guys can make decisions elsewhere without me.
We'll need access to the material.
So we have laptops.
It's happened.
Yep. Item 4. So that's 1655 Dougal.
So file number 20502, roll number 060531335500, address 1655 Deagle Road, owners Terek Holdings Limited, 2021 roll year, reference date April 1st, 2018. Assessed value $1,397,000. Again, subject property is 11,993 square feet plan area with land area of 64,411 square feet. Average wall height between 16 and 18 square feet. It's a metal frame and walls construction class. And I asked to confirm the 2021 assessment at $1,397,000. Page 2 provides aerial view of the subject property and as well as a street view. It is a vehicle service garage that services larger types of vehicles. So door height has 5 bays and it has a door height that will accommodate the full-size trucks and buses. Okay, so to the left of it, we have 5 bays service area, and closer to the Dugald is an office area, as well as a mezzanine area also for the property. If we go to, okay, so yes, we have a page 3, we have request for income and expense information. That's 2016 and 2017 income and expense information was provided. In October of 2012, there was a sale of subject property for a consideration of $1 and a sworn value of $900,000. To move further, we have page 4. We have comparable sales of vehicle service garages, and they have high. I have highlighted the properties that are most appropriate. I would probably ask panel members to unhighlight comp number 17, as it's smaller in size and it must have been highlighted in error. So we have comparable 28 at 17,909 square feet at $48.15. Comparable number 6 at 12,129 square feet at $13.75. Again, the appellant and the city of Winnipeg do not have a major difference in prices per square foot for such property, as you can see on page 5. The leasable area of 327 square feet at $6.68 per square foot, with vacancy of 2.5%, expenses at 2%, shortfall at $3.75 per square foot, and capitalization rate of 6%, rise at value of $1,397,000. It is subject property is owner occupied. However, they do provide rent that they check mark as net rent on their income and expense mailer, and the rent is $7,950 a month book rent. Page 11 is the capitalization rate again. As in any previous, we are looking at office suburban B class, which is 5.55 to 9.05% cap rate, with most of the properties between 6.2 and 7.3. As well as a fresh look, it basically spells out the reason why City of Winnipeg is no longer using 5% management expense fee. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you. Okay, so just very quickly, this is an owner-occupied property, and there's been no economic or physical change since the last cycle. Is that correct?
It doesn't look like there has been no.
Okay, but the value has increased by 24%. Is that typical?
Just give me a second. Oh, it is if it is 24.5%, I didn't look into it, but it's probably on, like I've seen them I wouldn't say it's typical, but it is realistic. I guess.
All right, so it's got metal frame walls and 16 to 18 foot ceiling heights. Is that typical of new industrial properties that are coming onto the market?
Oh, it's typical for the age of the property, and
Okay.
it's as well as it's being used as a vehicle service garage for larger vehicles. Yes.
Okay, and when we have, when we're talking about the model, I'm going to assume that all of the inputs here are model generated. Is that correct?
Yes, they are,
Okay, and nothing was overwritten?
not to my knowledge.
Okay, so when we have shorter ceiling heights and then metal frame construction, is that captured by the model in the rental rate or in the cap rate or both?
Typically, rental rate. Typically, rental rate.
Rental rate, okay. Now, from a market view, do you think shorter ceilings would translate to a higher cap rate?
I guess. So your question is if shorter ceiling will translate to a higher cap rate?
More risk for an owner.
Well,
Narrows the tenant pool.
well, they would translate into market rent per square foot.
Okay, that's fine. Now, this is an unpaved lot, is that correct entirely?
From
Judging by
the
the
looks
photos.
of it, and all I have is aerial view, it does appear that it is not paved, but I may be mistaken.
Okay, is there a higher risk profile for single tenant properties or multi-tenant properties in the industrial space?
I cannot answer the question.
All right, now I go to page 11. Now, if we're looking at the broker's studies, would you call this this is a single tenant building, to be certain? Now, the brokers are using generally investment grade properties only, and they are suggesting a rate of no less than 6.5 up to a high of 7.75. Is that correct?
Which column are you looking at?
Page 11. So if you look at single tenant A, if you believe this is an A grade property, then Colliers is saying that it's a 6.5 to 7.25 cap.
Which column are you looking at? Sorry.
The industrial cap rate table in your evidence.
Okay,
Page
so
11.
you're looking at industrial cap rates. Okay.
Okay. That's fine. That's there. That's
Yeah,
fair.
so it is there. So
Okay, and then just in your actual cap rate evidence from the city, you've got 4 comps here. Now, I think that 2 and 3 are reasonable on debates and 255 watt. Are you familiar with 90 Park Lane?
which comparable is that?
Number 1
On
on your page 16.
oh, that's
Your comps for cap rate evidence.
Okay, so where is that? Okay, so we're looking at comps in which section? Okay, so you're looking at the bottom for the industrial. Okay, no, I'm not familiar with that.
You're not familiar. Okay, so you're not familiar with your best comp in this table. An opinion on that? No?
Okay, those are comps for the capitalization rate, right?
Yeah. Okay, I think those are my questions. Thanks.
I have no questions.
I just have one quick question on page 4 of your records. You're saying number 6 and number 28 are your best comparables.
Yes.
Are those also vehicle repair?
Yes, they are.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, 1655 Dugald Road. We've got a property that's metal frame built in 1993. They do repair on diesel engines in this property. So it's indeed vehicle service related. It's semi-fenced and completely unpaved. The city is suggesting a value of $1,397,000, which constitutes a 24% increase over the previous cycle, as I alluded to, which we believe is inappropriate, and we are requesting an assessment of $1,120,000. So again, we're at the corner of the northeast corner of Bournaise and Dugald. This is the St. Boniface Industrial Park. The building has a plan area of 11,993 square feet. And then there's a mezzanine area of 1,311 square feet. And the improvement is situated on a 1.5 acre parcel, giving us approximately a 5.3 to 1 land to building ratio, which is considered average, not good, not poor. Again, the property is unpaved. The improvements are metal frame, and the ceiling heights range from 16 to 18, which is considered low by today's standards. Now, in terms of the net market rent, we do have an owner-occupied property. I've included rent comps here, but for the sake of narrowing our issues, we are coming to a net market rent of $666, and the assessor's at $668. So we're virtually the same. I do include those comps, and I've got photos. So the rate that we've applied is $6.66. Vacancy rate for industrial, for the St. Boniface Industrial Park in this period is 3%. And that's some of that info is in our CAP study that's included in this brief. So we have applied 3%. Shortfall rate is undisputed at 3.75, and we do continue to apply the 7%, including the 5% non-recoverable. The cap rate that we've applied is 7%. In summary, I show you the brackets on page 6. So effectively, if we have an investment grade A property, we tend to apply a rate of 6.25 to 7%, where there are no other circumstances that would lead us to change that. For B grade, we're between 7 and 7.5. Non-investment grade in general is applied a cap rate of 8% or more. So I believe this is quite reasonable. I don't know if we can argue if it's an A or a B. I don't know that it's either, but we're right in the middle there at 7%. Now that's 7% as calculated with the 5% non-recoverable. Without the 5%, we would apply 7.4%, still well within our range, leading us to $1,126,000. So again, our request is if you are satisfied with the 5%, $1,120,000. Should you wish to remove the 5% and adjust the cap rate to 7.4, our request becomes $1,126,000. Thank you very much.
Yes. Let's see. I don't have any questions in relation to any information presented, except for the 5% management fee, which we have already discussed. So I don't want to bring it forward, but I just want to make it known that it would have been a question, but we've discussed it many times.
Okay.
I have no questions.
Okay, thank you. So let's go on to our last property then. 288 Marion Street. One moment, open time.
So file number 20526, roll number 0607506010, address 288 Merriam Street, owners Wintergreen Enterprises Incorporated. Roll year 2021, reference date April 1st, 2018. Assessed value $886,000. It's a two-story building built in 1956 with a vault height of 12 feet. Wood or steel framed exterior walls. Plan area 3,783 square feet. Gross floor area 7,566 square feet. Land area 11,513 square feet. I asked the panel to confirm the 2021 assessment at $886,000. Page 2 provides aerial view of subject property. It's the property has ample parking, compared to many properties on Marion that use street parking or very limited back parking. Subject property has ample parking. It's a two-story building used for offices. More particularly, some of the offices are medical offices. Again, March 22, 2010 sale consideration $1. Sworn value $652,500. Page 5 provides subject property is office considered OFM, which is office dental medical, and comparables on page 5 are OFM as well, and we see the average rate per square foot of $13.16. Weighted average $13.57 and median of $13. So on page 6, we have 5 premises. With their respective square feet and respective price per square foot. Blended area, total area 6,749 square feet. Blended rate per square foot, $12. Potential rate, $80,969. With vacancy of 5.5%, expense rate of 2%, shortfall rate of $7 per square foot, and cap rate of 8.05. Total estimated value is $899,000. Page 7 is a repeat of page 6. Okay. Page 8 is the income and expense mailer for subject property. It is reported as a net rent. It has 18 parking stalls. Also, per income and expense mailer, parking is being rented at $20 per stall, which City of Winnipeg did not capture in their assessment. And it provides some other information. So net total rent income that owner is providing at $77,188.83. Page 10 provides a summary of the income of the tenants. Again, we're looking at page 12. It's the same capitalization study that we're using, and it's office property, suburban B, range anywhere from 5.55 to 9.05%. And page 14 forward is a detailed explanation provided, general explanation. We've been over it at pretty much every hearing for 2020 and 2021 assessment rolls, that the reason why City of Winnipeg no longer uses 5% management expense rate. That's all I have. Thank you very much.
Yes, very quickly. Okay, just first thing that jumped out at me. Why is the city saying that this is a medical office?
That's what we have on record, and I believe the
rent roll codes are 551010, which is office, other, correct? On the income and expense that you're looking at, the owner is suggesting that the use code is 5 and 5, and then 10 and 10.
Right? I see what you mean. Okay. No, it is currently it is being called a medical office. I don't know why. The specific reason for it.
That's fine. So the main tenant on the main floor is a social welfare agency, and prior to that, it was a Chinese food place. You aware of that?
I don't know what it was prior to that.
Okay. No. You've got 5 premises, but there's actually 4 as reported. Is that correct?
4 reported, yes.
Okay. And the actual year built is 1956 with an effective year of 1956. So it's safe to say that this is a building that's true to its vintage, correct?
It is, yeah.
Okay. and it's wood frame construction. That's fine. I think we're well within, we're pretty close on cap rates, so that's fine. Have you visited this property?
No, I cannot.
No, it's okay. But you do have, so again, page 4, no subject lease is found, but you do have the lease information is supplied by the owner. Have you consulted that in preparation for this exercise today?
No, I did not.
No, okay. Now, very quickly on your rent comparables, what's your best comp on this sheet?
I think they're all reflect property rents, so I don't think I can point out a specific one.
You think comp 8 might be your best property, considering that it's the subject?
Well, of course, yes. Subject property would be the best.
And then of these 18 comps, 11 of them are the Parkview Professional Center. I'm very familiar with that. That's my family doctor, so I've been in that building a number of times. Are you familiar with that property?
The ones that are in
2110 Main Street, the Parkview Professional Center.
Actually, no, I haven't been inside. No.
Okay, so you're not aware that property was substantially renovated in 2018, and I point this out because a number of these people, these folks who have been in here for a number of years, and these look like rents that were renegotiated after the upgrade. Are you aware of that?
Well, I see it. Yeah. So you're saying that they were the lease start date also reflect would reflect all the dates. So
They're usually late 17. It would have been known that there was a renovation of the property happening in 18, so they would be higher. So that's fine, and that constitutes 11 of your 18. So I'm going to suggest that's superior, and it also just so we're clear, that has more than 120 parking stalls associated with it. Are you aware of that? It's got a huge parking lot.
no, I didn't.
Okay. Comp number 4. I know that one. That's a dental office, correct?
I'll just take a look.
So just as you're looking, 4, 5, 4 and 5 are both dental offices, correct?
4 is 4 is a dental office. 5, I believe it's a dental office as well. Yeah.
Okay. Number 4 is an elevator.
I don't know.
Okay. Suggest it does if it's got, I think it's an 8 or 9 story building. Number 5 is a dentist. Comp 11 is a walk-in clinic, and so is Comp 12. So I guess my question is, do medical offices tend to pay a higher rent than the standard office space, especially the type of utility space that's used by a social welfare agency?
Medical office buildings have more of, they tend to be in that way because they have more of interior finish office. Standard offices typically are more open. They do not have interior walls, whereas medical offices have interior walls, and perhaps other
offices have things like Medigas and things like that throughout, and they have a higher degree of finish in general. That's fine. Now, for number 6, everything here is modeled. Is that safe to say?
Yes, it is.
Okay. We talked about the rent roll, and I think those are my questions then. Thank you.
Okay. Questions?
I have no questions.
Questions have been asked and answered.
You can proceed, Jared.
Thank you very much. Okay, so here we are at 288 Marion Street. This is a building built in 1956. It's 2 stories, wood frame construction. Now we're suggesting a value of $792,000 is reasonable. The assessor is suggesting $886,000. I forgot to point out the $886,000 constitutes a 17.5% increase, and we think that's unreasonable based on the economic reality of this property. And in fact, at the reference date, the second floor yoga studio actually moved out. We also contest the classification of a medical office. It is not a medical office. It is a suburban office building from the mid-1950s. So this is the south side of Marion Street. It's west of Braemar, and it's right across from the Safeway store. You know that part of Norwood East. Again, there's 4 premises. We have 3 tenants on the second floor, 1 main tenant on the main floor, and 18 parking stalls. So the main tenant, again, located on the main floor, is a charitable group providing vocational training, continuing education, supported employment, and recreation opportunities for adults living with challenges. And as I alluded to, the previous main floor tenant was a Chinese restaurant for a number of years. So it has not been a medical office at any point that we're aware of. The city of Winnipeg has applied an average April 21 net rent of $79,825 or $11.83 per square foot to a leasable area of 6,749 square feet. So I have done an analysis of these rents as well as the square footage. There's a small differential between our square footage and the city's. Now, in these cases, we tend to default to the owner's square footage. We would say that they're likely they'd be more expert in their own property than the city, and plus it would be in their best interest to have more square footage, so it's unlikely that they would understate it. When we look at these 4 tenants, we see that the rents, they vary from $5.75 a square foot to $13 a square foot. And I should point out too, when examining some of the assessor's comps, I did see in at least one of those buildings a rent for $5.65 a square foot, which was interesting. So this is well within line. We are applying $11.22 per square foot to a total leased area of 6,725, giving us a market rent per annum of 75,466. Now, you can see that some of these leases start in 11, 13, 14, 17, but particularly for the top 3, there are step-ups that occur in 16 and 17. So these are considered well within range, almost right in our exact spot we want them to be for a good indication of market value in April 1, 2018 reference date. The shortfall at $7 is not disputed. Vacancy is not disputed at 5.5%, though at the reference date, once the yoga studio moved, I believe it was hovering somewhere between 15 and 20%. But as we capitalize that vacancy into perpetuity, 5.5 seems reasonable. We continue to apply the non-recovered expenses as we've gone over here today a number of times. In terms of our cap rate, the city is applying an 8.05. I'm going to assume that has to do with the quality of construction and the age of the building. So we're not disputing that. That's well within our range as well. So I do provide our cap rate summary of our study as well as a summary of the conclusions. So generally a suburban office would be applied a rate of 6.25 to 7.5. But a downtown D would have an 8.5. Now, I'm not suggesting this is in the downtown, but it is reminiscent of some of the downtown D quality. So if we're somewhere between 7.5 and 8.5, that seems reasonable. But again, we have not disputed the 8.05. So with all of these factors taken into consideration, we come to an indicated market value at the reference date of $792,730 rounded to, I'm sorry, $791,730 rounded to $792,000. Now again, alternately, if you're not accepting of the 5%, I've recalculated with a cap rate of 8.15, again, well within our range, indicating a value of $789,000. So we suggest the market value of this property ought not to exceed 792, but the range would be 789 to 792 based on our report. I include some photos. You can see that this is options, pathways, and transitions. This is where they help the folks who have some difficulties. Not a medical office, but social welfare. And then we have the income and expense as submitted by the owner. So again, we do respectfully submit the value not exceed $792,000 for the 2021 assessment year. I'm happy to take any questions. Thank you.
No, I guess my only statement would be that I would have asked a question in regards to the 5%, but it's been well covered, so I just want to apply it for this file as well. That's all I have.
You just stated that the increase was
17.6%. Yeah. That's a good question. Yeah, I think I have it. You know what? I don't have it. I just made a note on it, but I could. Oh, I'm sorry. I do. 753.
questions, so then that concludes today's hearing. So thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.